All right, so this is the quick completion of part one of our videos. So one of the last things we need to understand is how to identify elements. So elements are identified by the number of protons, so the positively charged particles in the nucleus of them. Now, each element right here, and this is kind of a zoomed in one, but on your periodic table, elements are numbered. So for example, hydrogen is element number 1, helium is 2, lithium is 3, beryllium is 4, and so on. Now, we are really not going to work with any elements past your third row, so chlorine will probably be one of the last big ones you need to be familiar with. And we'll talk about specifically which ones are most important for you to know in the biology classroom. So in order to figure out what an element is, if I take this one right here, which we were using earlier to identify our subatomic particles, I have to count the number of protons. So I notice that I have 1, 2, 3 protons in the nucleus. That corresponds to the number of element. So if I look right here, element number 3 for my 3 protons tells me that this atom right here is a drawing of lithium. And there we go. This is a little more of a zoomed in picture. So there's your atomic number right there, which corresponds to your number of protons. Now we identify them by the number of protons. You can change the number of electrons and it would still be lithium. You can change the number of neutrons and it would still be lithium. But if I add or remove any protons to this, I change the actual element. So if I were to add a proton to this, well, now I have element number 4, beryllium, whole different properties. If I take a proton away, well, now I have helium, element number 2. The last thing we need to do is kind of a wrap up to this is chemical reactions. So right here, there are terms. This is actually photosynthesis right here. So there are terms that you need to be aware of for each side. So if you look right here, we have carbon dioxide, CO2, and water, and the energy from the sun that are going into this reaction. So the things that go into a reaction, we call those reactants. So in this case, carbon dioxide, water, and the sun's energy are your reactants for photosynthesis. This symbol right here, this arrow, has a special name. It's known as the yields. Should be an S on that. The yields arrow. And this side over here, C6H12O6, which we know is the chemical formula for sugar and oxygen, O2, those are your products. Those are easy to remember because they're what are produced or made in a chemical reaction. So the way you read this is that reactants yield products. All right, this is the end of video 1. So make sure your notes are completed for part 1. You can rewatch this video as many times as you would like.